Good morning. I often look at what's happening around me. And when you watch the news, the things that are happening around the world and stuff, and you see all these terrible things constantly. The news seems so negative. It always seems to be a catastrophe happening somewhere in the world. So much evil happening. And I can't help thinking that there are so many wicked people around. Now that statement is a bit loaded really, because as soon as I say people are wicked, I have to include myself in that. Because believe it or not, I'm not perfect. As human beings, we're all quite capable of great evil. And perhaps the only reason we are not is because of our upbringing or culture or religion or laws. Maybe if the circumstances were different or a right opportunity present itself, who knows? If I look at myself as being a part of all the evil and wickedness in the world, then who am I to judge? I can believe within myself that I'm not as evil as someone else because I have a conscience that tells me what I can do and what I can't do. Something that tells me what's right and what's wrong. So now I've decided within myself all the rights and the wrongs of the world. So if I behave myself and do what I think is right and good, I'll be fine. And if someone else does something I think is wrong or bad, then I can get righteously angry. I think, how can they do that and think they can get away with it? How can their conscience possibly let them sleep at night? Very often, sometimes I think I'm right and the rest of the world is wrong. No one listens to that. I often have started preaching and things about right living. Or even I've told people what God wants people to do or how to live a certain way. Can you believe that? As if I would know what God wants. At different times I've had various pastors and ministers throughout my life tell me how I should behave. And most of the time, or some of the time, I have accepted that. Because for goodness sake, they should know. But I'm sorry to tell you this. They have no idea. I've come across so many people that believe they're doing the right thing. But really, how can you know what's the right thing is? See, in our society we have laws that tells us how to keep society in order, but even then, over time the laws change. Politicians review laws and update them accordingly. You could trust them. Some laws are outdated and don't even apply anymore, and some laws don't even make sense in the world we live in. In our fast-paced world, the laws have to keep up, but sometimes they don't. So how can we really know for sure what is right and what is wrong? What is good and what is evil? In Psalm 37, it talks about how we should deal with evil. In verse 1, it says, "Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong." In other words, don't worry about evil. But aren't we supposed to fight against evil and all the injustices in the world? See, if we don't fight against evil, then evil is won and it will take over. Oh, we know God hates sin and evil, so we should too. And so we should change the world by defeating evil. Evil's already been defeated. In Revelation 12, it tells us that evil has been defeated in heaven. In verse 7 it says, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." So what the heck are we supposed to do about that? Are we supposed to fight like Michael and his angels and defeat Satan and his angels ourselves all over again? We can't. See, this, though, puts a whole new perspective on evil and the power it has over the world. Very often, all that we see is evil. And very often we can start to believe that there is nothing else but evil. And no power anywhere, especially can help at all. In verse 12 it says, the wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth against them. We know that. But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming. See, God's not worried about evil at all. In fact, God laughs in the face of it. We worry about evil and all the injustices in the world. Well, God laughs. This concept blows my mind. How can God not care about what I care about? How can God let all these terrible things happen in the world? But when you think about it, God's not doing them. We are. We're the problem because we're evil. Yes, that's right, all of us. So get over it. We have done the wrong thing, even when we believe it is the right thing to do. On our own, we can't do anything right. And very often anything we try to do is going to fail miserably. What a flaming mess. So what do we do about it? Do the right thing and trust God. As simple as that. King David knew this when he wrote this psalm. And in verse 7 it says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes." It's really hard to be patient though. And being still is not something I tend to do naturally. So I'll get worked up and upset when I see all the evil and want to lash out, blame something, maybe even God himself for not doing anything about it. But it says in verse 8, "Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil." Straight away, I've become part of the problem and the evil I'm trying to fix. God says not to worry about it. Verse 14, "The wicked draw the sword and bend the bow to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose ways are upright. But their swords will pierce their own hearts, and their bows will be broken." Trust in the Lord that everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about what others are doing or what they may have. Just be satisfied with what you've got. In verse 16, "Better the little the righteous have than the wealth of the many wicked. For the power of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous." See, we tend to only see a small part of the picture where God sees the whole thing, and we should trust in that. So I'll finish this off with the last two verses of King David's psalm. In verse 39, "The salvation of the righteous comes from the Lord. He is their stronghold in times of trouble. The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them, because they take refuge in him." So the question about evil in the world or why all the bad things happen to good people is not a question we should even be asking. To be right amongst all that is wrong in the world requires only one thing from us: to put our trust in the Lord, and to do anything else is just plain wrong. Thank you for listening to me today, and have a great week.